who came to the AP Parent Night. It's very nice to see you all and that everyone's socially distanced so well. And to all of you that are watching from home. So, the goal of the night is just to give you a lot of information on AP and dual credit opportunities that we offer at Elkhorn Area High School. And we also have, after this is over, we'll have teachers, AP teachers in the cafeteria for Q&A and individual class questions about their classes. So, just want to introduce a few important people tonight. I'd first of all like to thank our AP leadership team. If the three of you would please stand up. We have Mrs. Lisa Detman-Webb, Mr. Jason Cleveland, and Mr. John Handel, wherever he might be. There he is over there. I would also like to introduce our consultant who has helped us along the AP pathway, and he will come up a little bit later and talk a little bit about himself, Mr. Andrew Sharos. Our parent representative and K6 Director of Curriculum and Instruction is Mrs. Amy G. Our school counselor representative, Mrs. Kathy Picknell. She is back there. And we'll also have a student panel that we will introduce later on in the presentation. So, a couple things about being future ready. It's more than just AP, it's more than just dual credit opportunities. The important thing is that our students leave here and that they're well-rounded. So dual credit opportunities is definitely one of the ways to do it, but there are many others, including job shadows, apprenticeships, volunteer opportunities in the community, and extracurriculars, whether it's clubs or sports or anything else. We want our kids to be well-rounded when they leave here. So the definition of a dual credit opportunity, pretty simple. College level courses that we offer in high school where students can acquire both high school and college credit. So kids going to Elkhorn Area High School, taking classes within the high school, and receiving both college and high school credit. So there's a few different examples of ways that they can do this. The first one is called a transcripted course. So transcripted courses go through Gateway Technical College. It is an agreement that we have with Gateway Technical College that basically our teachers are going to teach their course, similar materials, similar learnings, and it goes with the teacher, but by taking those courses within Elkhorn Area High School within the day in their schedule, they can receive credit at Gateway as well as from Elkhorn. Project Lead the Way classes, PLTW, you'll hear that a lot. Elkhorn Area High School is, actually the school district is a district of distinction for Project Lead the Way. There are 3 different pathways. We're lucky enough to have all 3 pathways. So we have a pathway in engineering, and a pathway in biomedical sciences, and a pathway in computer science. So kids can go from the beginning courses all the way up through the capstone courses. And there is an end of course exam, and the students that do well enough on that end of course exam are able to receive college credit at different universities throughout the country. Different universities have different criteria, so they would want to work with their school counselor to see what the best options are for them. 2 others are Start College Now and Early College Credit. So Start College Now is for juniors and seniors, and it's an agreement with our technical school system, so our UW technical school system. 11th and 12th graders can take college credit there, and we pay for it. Same thing with early college credit, except for this one is offered for grades 9 through 12, and it's through the UW system. And again, kids earning college and high school credit at once. The one that we will be talking about mostly tonight is advanced placement. And I will leave that for other people to discuss. One of the great things about dual credit opportunities is that students have the opportunity to save money. Last year, so 1920, cost savings just for students at Elkhorn Area High School, $367,205 saved by students earning college credit while they're in school. Add to that our students that are alternative school, another $36,492 for a grand total of $403,697 saved by our students. So it is a huge cost savings. To put that in perspective, the next highest school, we were the highest in Racine, Kenosha, and Walworth counties. The next highest school, $242,500. So pretty incredible what our students and teachers are doing here. And it's something that we definitely want to continue to take advantage of. So advanced placement. These are college-level courses that are offered in high school. I believe we have 23 different AP courses that are offered through Elkhorn Area High School. The courses need to reflect what is taught in the top introductory college courses. Students take AP exams in May, measuring their mastery of college-level work. A score of 3 or higher on an AP exam earns college credit and/or placements into advanced courses in many college programs. So if they don't get the credit, they can also pass or bypass, skip different classes once they get to college. A score of a 2 means a student is potentially qualified. So we want to celebrate our 2s. We want to celebrate our 1s. The kids that step up and take these challenging courses, it's a great experience for them. It's more than just about the 3s, 4s, and 5s. Right, it's the experience. It's the fact that they get exposed to the college-level coursework, and they learn the skills necessary. We have freshmen who are taking college-level courses, and it's a challenge. It's very difficult. It's very time-consuming, and it's also will pay off for them in the end. So at this point, I want to introduce Mr. Andrew Sharos. He's going to speak much more about AP. Thank you, sir.
Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me okay? All right, perfect. Some people stand. I'm a walker, so I got to walk a little bit. I was in the car for an hour and a half, so I have an excuse. I live in Chicago. Don't hold it against me. We have the same record as you guys right now, for those of you who are Packers fans. Although our win yesterday didn't quite look as good as yours, if you watched any of that game at all. But I'm thrilled to be here with you guys tonight. The truth is that I've been wearing the purple and gold for a couple years now. I've been in your classrooms. I've worked with your teachers. I've been a part of your AP program for the last 2 years and hopefully for the next coming years as well. I'm an Amazon best-selling author. My students had the highest test scores in the state of Illinois, and our district down in Chicago was named the District of the Year in AP. So I do work with a couple schools at a time, so I can give them my love and attention and work with their programs. And I can tell you that when I was first approached by your school to talk about the AP program, the profile of the school doesn't really fit most of the schools that I work with. I've worked with schools in the inner city of Los Angeles that have 9% pass rates. And I've worked with schools, down in Florida who have 13% pass rates that, populations are very transient, very migrant populations. And so when I was approached to work with a school that already has a 2.96 average, an above state and above national level AP program, I saw that as a challenge, right? And the folks that work in this environment, be it the teachers or the administrators, I had to ask the question, why? Why do you want to continue to work with us and continue to push and try to think about how we can do better as a school? And the answer very simply was, we want to open up opportunities to more students. We want kids who are getting 2s to get 3s. We want students who maybe didn't think about going to college, taking an AP class and saying, I think this is something that I can do. And so hopefully we've embraced that challenge together with the AP team. And I always find that it has some value to talk about the why first. As an AP parent, whether your student is a freshman or taking their 7th AP class now as a junior or senior, I think it's always important to start first with the why, and we'll talk a lot about the what. Thankful to have some of our students to give us that tonight as well. So in talking about the why, I am a former social studies teacher, so all we do as social studies teachers is show videos anyway. So rather than try to do something different, I'm just going to contribute right to that stereotype. I mentioned that I'm from Chicago, so I'm sorry, I got to go back to Chicago with this story. But a few years ago, this story kind of made national news on an otherwise boring night in the NHL of a backup goaltender who got into the game. So let's take a look, and then I'll explain maybe why it's relevant to us.
on CBSN. He's an accountant by day, but last night, 36-year-old Scott Foster filled in as a goalie for the Chicago Blackhawks. Laura Podesta has this story.
Hey, who's this guy?
This guy, who stepped in as goalie for the NHL's Chicago Blackhawks, is 36-year-old Scott Foster. He never played a pro game in his life. As a matter of fact, his day job is perhaps the polar opposite of ice hockey.
I'm an accountant by day, so a few hours ago I was sitting on my computer typing on a 10 key, and now I'm standing in front of you guys. Just finished 14 and a half minutes of NHL hockey.
The Blackhawks' regular starter, Anton Forsberg, was injured during warm-ups. His backup also got hurt in the third period. So the next option, the so-called emergency goalie, a person who usually just sits in the press box and eats free food, but who's available in case either team has a goalie emergency. Foster plays in 2 recreational leagues. The last real competition he faced about a dozen years ago for Western Michigan University. In Thursday's game against the Winnipeg Jets, he stopped all 7 shots he faced over the final 14 minutes, helping to seal a 6-2 win. He was mobbed by his team after the final horn.
And it was opening day for baseball, but we had to go to the bullpen a couple times today.
When he was sitting in the locker room there, he was cool as a cucumber, and he just went out there and, Christ, took a few shots. I was like, oh, this guy looks pretty good.
Scott Foster!
After the game, Foster was awarded the MVP both on the ice and again in the locker room by his teammates. Laura Podesta.
So one of the things that we talk about in our teams and in our rooms as we're working together is our why. What are we here for? What's our purpose? And, you know, Scott Foster was an accountant who played in a couple recreational leagues, who sat in the press box every home game in Chicago, and he could have played for either team. So if either team loses 2 of their goalies at once, rather than putting out a normal positional player, they can call on the emergency goalie. And look what happened when he got into the game. He gave up fewer goals than the actual professional goalies did during the game. So our calling, I think, is to find the Scott Fosters in your school who have the potential, who have the work ethic, who have the belief in themselves, or who want to take a chance on themselves, and get them into our program. Because we've seen some of the positive things, and you'll hear from some of the positive things from your kids today that AP can do for you, and that dual credit can do for you, and what all of the programs that we offer here can do for your students beyond Elkhorn High School. So we're playing for the Scott Fosters tonight, but we're setting a foundation, hopefully, first with a strong why you're doing this, right? Because you will see your kids come home frustrated and doing lots of homework and, you know, talking to their friends about it and worrying about their grades. So we want to put all of that out on the table first to figure out why we're here before we have to deal with some of that stuff from you guys on the back end, okay? So the first and maybe most obvious thing is the opportunity to earn college credit. As you're sitting in a high school classroom, you're actually having the opportunity to amass college credit, which also equals, as a parent, this is kind of important, potential tuition savings. So it's not uncommon to have a rock star AP student pass a bunch of classes and go to Madison as a freshman, but they're really a sophomore because they got a bunch of these credits already. So now they're taking 12 credits instead of 18 like their friends. Now they're finishing in 3.5 years or 4 years instead of 4.5 or 5 years like they like to keep you at schools now, right? So having college credit can not only be a cost savings, but could also make your schedule a lot easier in college so that you can take some of the classes that maybe you're more passionate about or have the time to invest in yourself in an internship or a job outside of campus. Currently, if you get a 3 or higher, AP tests are scored on a 1 through 5 scale. If you get a 3 or higher, these are all of the states that are now allowing full credit for that score in that class. And so a few years ago, it was like 18 of them did and 32 of them didn't, and we've completely flipped that now, where my state and yours, Illinois and Wisconsin, are 2 of the 32 states now that offer credit for any kid that got a 3. When I was in high school, you needed a 4 or a 5, definitely a 4 or a 5. 3 has now become a more acceptable passing score. It didn't matter because I got 2s on all my tests anyway when I was in high school. The second biggest reason, and I think this is becoming more important now than ever, is it looks good on a college transcript. Many universities are actually eliminating the need to take an ACT or an SAT in order to gain entry. It's not necessarily an admissions requirement, and you can opt out of having that on your transcript. So if a university admissions professor or someone who works in that office is looking at your son or daughter's transcript and they're trying to figure out who they are and if they should be admitted into Marquette or Madison or any of the other state schools or great schools that we send kids to, they've got to figure out who they are, and one of the ways they can do that is by seeing that the student challenge themselves by taking a couple AP classes every year. Not taking 5 or 6 AP classes. The research would show that 5 classes over the course of a student's high school career is best for them. Right? After 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, it's kind of a law of diminishing returns, right? So starting with an AP class, maybe adding a second AP class your sophomore or junior year, maybe working up to maybe 2 or 3 AP classes by your senior year. So they like to see that you challenged yourself on your college transcript. It's kind of hard to see this, but there's a percentage here given of all the different things based on curriculum, grades, the grades that you got in those classes, teacher recommendations, interviews, things that you do outside of school, and 71 to 81% say that colleges look at what you took while you were in high school, and that matters. You know, dual credit programs are great, and they fit certain profiles of students. It's a great way to earn credit, industry credentials, and experience. One of the things I think that AP classes can do for you is AP classes don't just equal college credit. They equal college credit and college readiness. So most of our students, when they come back, will tell us that some of your classes at Elkhorn were harder than the ones that they took in college. And we like to hear that, right? Because it means that they're more prepared in being successful when it really, really, really counts when they get to college. So being able to have an access to a rigorous coursework, being challenged by their teacher, completing a journey at the end of the year and taking that test, it's something I think we value for all of our kids in taking AP. And finally, and I can speak to this one very personally here, this is the last time that taking college classes will be free in your life. I have debt from Marquette University. I still do. I'm 36 years old and I'm paying it off. I have debt from my grad school, master classes and certifications. I'm still paying those off as well, right? And so this is the last time that you can sit in a public high school and potentially get 3 credits, a semester, or a full year's worth of college tuition at no cost to you just by taking all the classes that Elkhorn says you have to take anyway, right? So we start first from this lens of opportunity, knowing that by sitting in these seats tonight, as a parent, you're supporting your student in taking all of their classes, but particularly their AP classes as well. And we're looking for your partnership, whether you're here or whether you're listening at home on the stream, to work with your students, to listen to the testimony of the kids that we'll talk tonight, and be partners with us in the AP team in hoping for even better things for the AP program at your school. So my compliments to your community and to your district. You already have a wonderful and thriving program. We're here this year and every year just to kind of turn it up another notch. So thank you so much. I'm happy to be here in support, and with that, we'll bring up Amy. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Greetings, everyone. I'm going to speak from the floor tonight for obvious reasons. When I agreed to come in tonight, I said, I'm happy to talk to all of our Elkhorn families. I'm just not comfortable using my crutches in front of this small group to get on and off the stage, because that is something to see. So we're going to save that for when I have to get in and out of the house at home. So as Dan introduced me earlier this evening, I am Amy G., and I am the K-5 Director of Instruction. So I have had the privilege of possibly seeing your students in action when they were at the elementary level, working with our wonderful team of teachers there. And so you might be wondering, well, why is she talking to us about the AP classes tonight? I'm hanging up my credentials at the door, and I'm here to talk to you parent to parent. And I was really happy when the high school reached out to have this conversation with you all again this year, because I have to also thank Andrew Charles, for what you said, because I'm going to piggyback on some of that and then just build from that parent perspective as well. Just to let you know, when I was a young parent, someone said to me, you know, it's really important for you to find somebody along this journey, somebody that you're friends with, somebody who has kids a few years older than your kids, and just kind of benchmark with them along the way, somebody that you can listen to and observe and then ask those questions, because parenting is filled with a lot of bends in that road, and you don't know what's coming around the next bend, but sometimes you can have a little foreshadowing. You can see that in just seeing what your friends and others are going through on their journey. So I ask that you just kind of think of me as one of those people on that journey tonight, because I'm happy to share some of the ins and outs that I've learned having two of our own children go through the Elkhorn Area High School. Both had just fantastic experiences. And I'm just going to share with you what does the journey for a parent feel like as students navigate AP classes, as they make that transition into the college, and some of the ins and outs that you should know, so that we continue that successful story on your child's journey as well. So a little bit about my family. I have a daughter, Lindsay. She is a senior this year. She's a fifth-year senior. But she transferred to the University of Minnesota from the University of Wisconsin-Madison 2 years ago. She's one of those students that we thought she had her major set upon entering high school, and changed her major 3 times before determining that nursing was her true calling. She was a child here at the high school who participated in DECA, and so when she switched to nursing, I couldn't believe it, because she was not one of those people involved in HOSA. So where did this come from? The fact of the matter is her transcript was strong. She had 20 credits when she rolled into the university, and although her journey has taken her a little extra time, she was able to explore a lot of things before she made her final career decision. And so we'll be very excited to see her graduating. She's University of Minnesota based in Rochester, and so she's had a unique experience being networked with Mayo Clinic up there. So we're really proud of her efforts and excited to see her reach the finish line. Our son, Steven, is 2 years younger. He did go to the University of Wisconsin-Madison. He is one of those students that came into the high school 2 years later than our daughter did. Within that 2-year time, I have to compliment the high school staff and all of their efforts, because the number of AP offerings became so extensive at that time that we were very fortunate that, based on the teacher support he had and the course offerings, he entered the University of Wisconsin-Madison with 40 credits under his belt. This gave him an opportunity to double major in actuarial science and finance, and he'll be wrapping up in 3.5 years. And the reason we encouraged him to do a little bit more than just actuarial science is he needed more classes to balance out what he was doing, because he couldn't just live in those math classes all day long. We are, as a family, very grateful to the Elkhorn High School just for these opportunities. So now that your students are coming into these trenches, I know they continue to offer more. We've come up with more ideas, such as the boosts, the way the schedule is set up. It's set up for student success in so many ways. And sometimes you don't know that unless you've seen this kind of happen over a period of time. So that's the background that which we speak. On the slide behind me here, I'm just going to ask, can you guys go back to the previous slide for just a second? Because there's a couple of things I want to point out. This is where I'm going to talk about one of the bends coming up here for our families. Thanks, Mr. Keel.
You're welcome.
There we go. Okay, so taking a look at, I think it's slide 14. We've already talked a little bit up at the top corner about academic preparation. It goes without saying that taking such rigorous classes here at the high school does prepare your child for the academic things that they will encounter on their journey, be that a 2-year school or a 4-year school. The resilience factor is also something that's really critical. As a parent, wouldn't you want to have your children first encountering that intense rigor, the stress or anxiety that might come with some of that when they're finally faced with really tough coursework, and being able to help them navigate that while they're still living under your roof? It's really important that our kids learn that time management skills, how to handle stress, all of those things while they're still at home with a wonderful support network both at home and at school, so that they learn those skills before they're living away from home. Now, I want to get to the next 3 points. As we already heard tonight, having academic credits roll forward does give you a head start on campus. However, as a freshman, when your child goes to register, those credits have not come in yet, okay? Those reports aren't synced up yet with the university, so your child registers for classes just like every other freshman that year before they begin at a college campus. But what happens following that is those transcripts will sync up, and those AP classes will then become coursework that is credited at the university. And suddenly, when they go to register for their second semester as a freshman, suddenly they may have a lot more credits than the peers that they're living with in their dorms. And suddenly, they're able to get into classes that others aren't able to access. They're able to set up really desirable schedules, and a whole new world may open for our Elkhorn students that isn't necessarily accessible to all freshmen on campus. And this is where our students start to feel kind of the rewards of all the effort they put forth at that time. So that Head Start not only follows them then as freshmen, where suddenly they may have sophomore standing, but it will continue to propel them forward for the remaining years that they're there, and allowing them into those courses that may typically fill up quicker. The opportunity cost savings. We talk a lot about the tuition that is saved, and that is definitely a factor. But in addition to that, you add on room and board saved, even if it's just for a semester. You think of how much sooner a child might be able to access the workforce and start earning money. So the opportunity cost savings is huge. It also could look like giving them an opportunity to travel abroad based on what's been saved for college. It gives them the opportunity to perhaps add a second major to their degrees. So the opportunity cost savings is something to really consider as a family. And then finally, it provides more options in college, as I said, to double major and what have you. The screen I have behind you is a snapshot from the University of Wisconsin-Madison. This is something, parents, that I just want to bring your attention to. When you are preparing for your child to enter college, you will know from their freshman and sophomore and junior years what their scores are on their AP tests, the exams that they take in the spring of the year. Those typically come to you in early July. And as Mr. Keel said, all of those scores need to be celebrated. However, if your child's receiving a 3, 4, or 5, that will then transfer to credit on campus. What you need to do is help your child find this page, looking up, AP coursework. How does AP coursework transfer at the University of La Crosse or the University of Oshkosh or other, obviously universities? Because on this page is where you can go in and put in, here's the coursework they took. They took AP US History. They got a 4 on that. It will have a direct line to this counts as this college course. You want to make note of that. Work with your child to learn how to do this. Then you might look at the next class that they took. Okay, AP English Lit, or Lang, you would probably have the score for. That was a 5. Wow, that's going to count as this course. You need to empower your child with this information before they go in to register their freshman year, because you'll know what courses will now count at that university, and you also need to have in mind what AP tests they took, because those results may not be back yet, and you certainly don't want your child registering for a class that they could be acquiring AP credit for. So as you get ready to send your child off to college, this is the work that you want to do. And any of you could go on at any time and start looking at that at different universities just to see how does that puzzle all fit together. Okay? All right, now, Mr. Keel or whoever's up there, thank you for going to the next slide. All right, so a couple of final things. How do I set my child up? How do I empower my child for success? One of the things that you're going to want to do is really set aside time to have those conversations at the kitchen table, whether your child's a freshman, whether they're nearing, the end of the road here at Elkhorn Area High School as a senior. Ongoing conversations are important because the path they pick, even as a freshman here, may deviate by the time that they are a senior. And so the courses you kind of pencil out, and I know our counselors know this the best because kids come in and they're changing and they're pivoting with, now I'm interested in this, no wait, now I'm interested in this. That's to be expected, okay? So it's important that you just kind of look at those. Which AP courses most fascinate them? Because those are the ones where they're going to dig in the deepest and probably, have the most grit to stick it out with those courses. Those are the ones that you want to help them prioritize in their schedule. Work with your child to determine what their rigorous course load looks like. This gets tough because they're going to talk with their peers. While few students are able to handle, say, 4 or 5 AP classes at a time, that certainly is not for every child. You know your child knows their ability. It's important they don't take on too much. We want those children to have success with this. So the only one that they need to measure up to is what is best for them. So have those conversations. They don't need to take every AP class offered here. It would be impossible to fit that all into their schedule. It's not healthy, and it's not a good academic decision. But help them determine which classes they're most passionate about. One of the things is it's important that your child attend the AP boosts. Again, I applaud the Elkhorn High School for bringing in a trimester schedule so that our students can complete all of their AP work in Try 1 and Try 2. And then it's kind of the hard road till the AP test in May. That gives them time to revisit their notes, to revisit the content. And this is where they're truly learning some of those skills that they're going to need in college to be self-directed learners. However, our high school teachers do not abandon them at that point. They hold ongoing boosts to review that content, to bring the kids in, to have the dialogue and revisit those concepts so our students are really prepared for those exams come May. And it's important that we honor that boost schedule and that we make that a priority for our students and help them understand that. Finally, work with your child to determine what documentation will be needed at their post-secondary site. Prepare your child for college class registration, as I spoke of. That too will be also very important on this journey. And I know for some of you it's hard to believe that you will soon have students heading out the door, moving on to post-secondary education. That day will come sooner than you think. And I hope that the information we're sharing tonight is very valuable. I will be here for a little while afterwards if any of you have questions that you want to gear more toward a parent. For those of you who may be watching this, streaming this at home, feel free to email me. That's geam@elkhorn.k12.wi.us, and I'm happy to respond to your emails as well. So thank you for your time tonight.
So this is a list of the AP offerings that we offer at Elkhorn Area High School. So there's 24 classes here, ranging from calculus to art, German, Spanish. There's a very wide variety of classes for kids to take. To put that into perspective, before I came to Elkhorn, I was the high school principal at a small school in southwestern Wisconsin. While I was there, we brought our first AP classes in. So we had one AP class that was in the building. We had one AP class that we could offer online, and they were working on having, between multiple schools, some distance learning models so that kids could access AP. So when I look at this list, I can really appreciate how lucky our students are that this is available to them. This year, all but 2 of these classes we're offering in person right now. The other 2, they didn't have enough kids signed up, but there would still be some online options for the kids in those classes. So, student health, and Amy hit on this as well as Andrew. Kids don't have to take 5 AP classes every year. That's not healthy. 5 AP classes where you're meeting every day for an hour, that would be a 5-credit college course. If you're taking 5 of those, you're taking 25 credits, which is crazy, and college kids don't do that. I grew up in very rural southwest Wisconsin. My high school had no AP classes. Somehow I got into UW-Madison, and in about the first week of school, I found out very quickly that I had no idea how to study. Midterms came and I found myself failing a class. I never failed a class in my life. And I had to learn very quickly that I can't just figure it out on test day. And our kids are extremely lucky that they get these opportunities in high school, like Amy said, to learn how to study and to learn how to handle some of the stressors that come with taking extremely high-level courses. And I'm sure our kids are going to be talking about this in a little bit. But again, there's evidence that would show that taking 5 AP classes through the course of a 4-year high school program is beneficial. There's not evidence that taking excessive amounts of AP classes is going to get them further ahead. If they're interested in the course and they want to take the class because they love it, then take the class. But remember that it's also about being well-rounded and having some fun in high school and taking courses that they're interested in and exploring different things throughout the building. We have a ton of elective courses that kids can take, and sampling those and trying to figure out just what it is that they really like can also be very beneficial for them as they go into high school or into college. Which takes us into the post-high school pathway. Know your career cluster and pathway to determine your course selection. You'll never know it if you don't try to take some courses and if you don't talk to your counselors and go through the academic career planning. It's a very smooth way to make college simpler and shorter if you can go in and you know what it is that you want to do. I thought I did, and then I changed my major 3 times, and 5.5 years later, I graduated from Madison with an education degree. But it took a lot of time and money to figure that out, where our kids today, not that they're not going to go in and change their minds, they don't have to settle in on anything, but the more they can have an idea of what it is that they like, where their interests lie, the further ahead they could be as they move into post-high school. I would now like to introduce Mr. Jason Cleveland. He is going to come up and introduce our student panels.
Well, I guess like normal, I get to do the funnest part. I get to deal with, and that's normally what I do, is I get to deal with the kids. To start with, we are having a few returning students that are going to come back. These are kids that are in college, about done with college, and they're going to kind of give more of the feedback of, oh, these guys are coming up. We'll get to them. They're the current folks. All of the returning students were also planning on being here. We did decide that with everything going on that we'd have them video. So when you look at the videos, I do want to apologize. There's a couple of them that gave a little bit more credence to AP US History. It never hurts to recruit. With these guys, so I'd like to start with Megan. Megan was an amazing young lady, still is, but she is the ultimate, I guess I would say, workaholic. And she will tell you definitely what she's doing.
Hi, my name's Megan Marina. I was Elkhorn's graduating class back in 2011, which seems crazy to me now because that's almost 10 years ago. I took Mr. Cleveland's AP US History class back in, I think it was 2009, and I will recommend that class to each and every one of you. I took a lot out of the class. Mr. Cleveland is extremely passionate about his material and ensuring that you learn the material. It didn't just help me remember things about AP US History, but it helped me better study for exams during undergrad. In undergrad, a lot of times you'll be taking notes similar to how Mr. Cleveland has you take notes during his class, where you listen to people lecture, you take notes, and you eventually study from those notes. He also teaches you in a way to help you study for those exams. You learn it, the material, and you learn it in a way that not only for the first exam on the material, but at the end of the year when you take an AP US History exam, you can actually recall the material. And that was very helpful for me in order to study during undergrad. I ended up graduating from Elkhorn and going to do my undergraduate degree at UW-Madison, and I realized I was still passionate about history, and I knew I wanted to go into medicine one day and to go get a medical degree, but I was looking at different classes and quickly found out you do not have to be a biology major in undergrad to go to medical school. So I ended up pursuing my undergraduate degree in the history of science with a focus on medical sciences, and I loved it. I got to learn a lot about different things in the classes, such as why we use certain prescriptions that we do today and when they were discovered. I did not know prior that we actually found a lot of our meds during the Byzantine era, and I think that's really cool. I also ended up doing a thesis paper on the retroactive nature of laws in the United States to protect patients. We wait in the United States usually until something goes wrong. So we learn from history, but we don't try to prevent things from happening. So I wrote and looked at things such as Tuskegee trials in Nuremberg and things like Stanford prison trials in order to argue that we should be looking more proactively to protect patients. When I went to medical school, I am now at the Medical College of Wisconsin in Milwaukee, and I love it here. And I still use history. I do research in order to help find ways to improve outcomes following liver transplantation for patients. And I look at previous studies done on the topics, as well as retrospective analysis of data, and in order to argue different new changes to put out there in order to help patients. I also use history in helping a patient earlier this week. I know it might sound silly, but we have a patient that has a disease that only 25 families have ever been affected by worldwide. And it's nice to be able to look at studies done in the past because they tell you what has worked and what hasn't worked. So once again, I'd love to recommend Mr. Cleveland's class and continue to explore what you're interested in, even beyond high school. I'm still passionate about history and use it a lot, surprisingly. And good luck. Let me know if you guys need anything. You can get my contact information from Mr. Cleveland if anybody needs anything. Have a great time. Hope you take the class.
And like I said, the main thing is to come out of it is just how much overall she got from the school. Amazing, amazing young lady. Alex, once again, every one of the people that I was using, we've had so many unbelievable kids.
Hello, my name is Alex Gonzalez. I am attending the University of Wisconsin-Madison. I am studying history education and public policy. And I'm going to be talking about the AP classes that I took in high school and how they prepared me for college. The AP classes that I took at Elkhorn helped me immensely adapt to the academic expectations, especially at the University of Wisconsin. They helped me develop those college-level academic skills that are so essential to succeeding, especially in your first year. When things are intimidating and you're new to everything, you can really rely on those skills that you learned in your AP classes in high school, and they will help set you up for success. So, for example, note-taking during lectures is a skill. Adapting to the level of difficulty of the material that you're going to be introduced to. The level of work involved in each individual course and studying and preparing are just some of the skills that you are going to learn in your AP classes. So as a history major, not only did AP history help me, but actually AP literature helped me. There was a lot of reading involved in that class, and sometimes it feels like you can't keep up, you don't know how to prioritize, how to manage your time, but in those AP classes is a really good way and a good time to really work out what study skills and what time management skills really work best for you, because when you're in college, you're going to be really relying on yourself and what skills and assets you bring to college. So it's going to be your responsibility in college, and I think that the AP classes that you take in high school really set you up for success and make you a better student because of it.
The next one is the one that's probably, I guess for me, the one that's the most personal. The reason I say that is the next gentleman, partway through his sophomore year, had basically begun to fill out the paperwork to go alternative. He just felt high school wasn't for him. He just felt lost, and I'll let him say the rest.
Hi, my name is Nathan Youngbauer. I took AP U.S. History in my junior year. How it made me a better student, I suppose, it forced me to think ahead, study harder due to the complexity as well as the intensity of the curriculum and requirements necessary to excel in that particular subject matter, as well as gave me better memorizing techniques because of just the broad spectrum of things that need to be remembered as well as recalled on the fly. It definitely helped me out in that sense. For future endeavors, it was always good to have a longer term as well as a more broad and encapsulating experience. Yeah, as it would also help that it was my favorite subject, so there was that involved. It definitely, for sure, helped me as a student. A little too little, too late. I do wish I could have taken it at a earlier year, but other than that, yeah, it definitely helped out in the long run. Yeah, thank you.
At this time, we're going to get to more of our current students. Our first one was not able to join us today, so Anastasia will start first, and then I will let these three kind of decide who comes up next. We will then have Jeffrey, Jimena, and Quinn. So we have one senior, two juniors. Annie is also a current senior.
Hi everyone, my name is Anastasia Grahowski and I'm currently a senior at Elkhorn Area High School. Choosing to take AP classes was definitely one of the best decisions that I've ever made. Quite honestly, in middle school, I never studied for anything. All of the classes and the subjects came really easily to me. So when I started high school and began taking AP courses, it was definitely a big wake-up call for me. I started to feel like I was being challenged. I started to feel like I was actually learning at a level that I was capable of. And though I was being challenged, I never felt like I was struggling. And that's because every single one of my teachers made a point to make sure that I received the resources and the support that I needed to succeed, not only during the year in the class, but also at the end of the year on the exam. Every one of my teachers made sure to set aside plenty of time in the spring for our boost sessions, and those boost sessions have helped me tremendously. And I just think it's amazing that all the AP teachers are willing to give up their time after school in the spring to help us succeed on the exam. So another thing that I really, really like about AP courses is it gives me a great opportunity to set structured long-term goals. So even in the courses that I'm taking this year already, I've started to think about how each assignment that I'm doing right now is going to prepare me for that exam in May. And my teachers have already started talking about all the different learning targets that the AP College Board puts out So we're already on track to learn about the things that we're going to be tested on in the spring. So I think that's a great way for me to learn how to set long-term goals in my future. And so I highly recommend taking AP courses. I know that you won't regret it. I know for me that it's prepared me so much for college and even for my life after college. So yeah, have a great day, you guys. Thank you so much.
All right, and with that, we will introduce, I guess I'll pull them up. Do you want to go first, Quinn? All right, so we have Quinn Greer coming up to talk to you first.
Hey everyone, what's going on? I think most of you probably know who I am. Some of the parents, definitely most of the teachers know who I am by now. Sorry I don't look as nice as them. I just came from football practice, so I didn't really have time to go home and change or anything. So, to be honest, when I came here at the start of freshman year, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I took Mr. Lee's AP Human Geography class. I'm not going to say it was the best thing that ever happened to me, but it was definitely a good class to help me learn how to further myself and push myself, because that class didn't make a lot of sense to me a lot of the time. When it got to the AP test in May, I really wish I had studied more for it. I got a 2, which is okay. It's a good start. And sophomore year, this guy, Mr. Cleveland, he took his class, the AP US History, and from day one, it really just interested me. He threw an 8-page assignment at us the first day, and it really turned me off, but as we kept going on, it really, really interested me to the point where now I want to take his job one day when I go to college and I become an AP US History teacher. So I really like the way that our teachers are giving us, showing us what we need to do for the AP test. Mr. Cleveland had all the units up in his room for things that we had to do to be ready for the AP test, and I studied. I'm kind of disappointed I got a 3. I'm going to blame it on this whole COVID online thing. It was a little wacky, but now with Mr. Brown as well, I'm taking his AP government class, and he has given out all 7 of the documents we need for it. You have the Declaration of Independence, this Brutus document, I don't know what we're talking about it tomorrow in class. So I guess can't tell you guys anymore though. Anyways, I think that, taking these AP classes has really prepped me for the future, and I think I am definitely a lot more ready for college. Hopefully, in the future, I can take AP World History with Mr. Scatrood if it's available next year. But this year, I'm taking 3 AP classes, taking AP Language with Ms. Detman, AP Stats with Mr. Malvitz, and you already know I talked about the legend, Mr. Brown. So, I think that's really a lot of what I have to say on the matter. I really appreciate Mr. Cleveland having me come out here to speak today. Thank you, guys.
Okay. Next will be Jeffrey Mearsman.
All right, hello everybody. The way that AP has most affected me is just how I think. So like what was touched on earlier is how regular classes just have an answer to a question. AP classes have an answer and then a how and a why. So that was mainly in effect in US history when everything is cause and effect. So when we're talking about something in like the 1800s, he would always relate that back to something else. So we were always making connections to earlier units, and we were just answering the question of why it is how it is, which has changed how I just think about school and just other things in life. So that was the main thing. And then also freshman year, I took AP Human Geography, and I thought that I had the tips and the study tricks and all of that to succeed, but I got a 1 on that test, so that was kind of like a kick in the butt. So then sophomore year, I studied harder, and I went to more boosts, and I just put myself more out there, and I ended up getting 2 3s. So if you want to succeed, you can in AP, and I would highly suggest taking these courses. Thank you.
And the last person that would come up will be Jimena Huerta.
Hello. Pretty much I have the same thing to say that Annie did. In middle school, classes were really easy for me, and I never felt challenge. And to put it very blunt, AP Human Geography was a reality check for me. It pretty much forced me to learn how to study because I never did that before. I gained time management skills and things of that sort, and like other AP classes, especially statistics with Mr. Malvitz, really helped make me a well-rounded person and an educated consumer. But on top of that, I kind of feel like I should add this because it kind of gave me more setbacks. Being the daughter of 2 immigrant parents has been pretty difficult considering my family doesn't have as many connections as other people here do. And it's kind of been more of an individual thing for me because my parents didn't have the opportunities that I have, and they don't know how to do all these things, and I just had to figure it out myself. Luckily for me, though, I have 3 older siblings who really did help me. But I think the best thing that AP has done for me is it has made my parents proud. My parents did not get to go to high school. My parents pretty much went to grade school. My dad dropped out when he was 10 years old. And in the least cheesy way possible, I kind of feel like AP has given us the opportunity to live the American dream. Seeing as my parents didn't get to do what I get to do, and now they have children taking college courses in high school and getting full rides to UW-Madison, MSOE, I think has really been kind of eye-opening for me, seeing how much the teachers here and the program can do for us. Thank you.
Okay, at this time, I'll be turning it over to Lisa Detman.
All right, well, I'm here just to wrap it up a little bit with our exam. A little information about what sort of things are coming up in terms of registering for the exam, what to expect, what that timeline looks like, and then just a final push to really encourage students to accept the challenge of the exam because the exam itself has so many benefits. So this is what our timeline looks like. These are dates that are set by the Elkhorn Area School District, but they mesh obviously with what needs to happen with the College Board. So our contact person for that, Sandy Jenkins, is our AP coordinator. Sandy will be the person that will be ordering the tests, will be handling fees, will be the person that you'll want to direct any questions to for exam registration. And we do have some dates coming up that you're going to want to be aware of. I know the students Quinn alluded to what the exam looked like last spring. That was an anomaly. Students took a shortened version of the exam from home. The College Board has dedicated itself to making sure that this year our students are taking the full exam again. So back to the normal structure of the exam, and that exam will take place in those dates in May. They do have some things set up in case we need social distancing, some alternative dates, but they want students to be able to have the opportunity to have that on-site exam experience. So we can look forward to that. That will be a better situation, I think. So prior to October 12th and 13th, when we have parent-teacher conferences, you're going to want to talk to your students. All of our students should by now have registered for My AP, and through that program, their AP Classroom, they are automatically defaulted to take the exam. So automatically right now, any student in an AP class is registered for the exam. You will be receiving a Google form probably late next week. At that time, you're going to be able to start thinking about committing to the AP exam. And it will have a drop-down menu giving you the confirmation that you are going to take the exam, or if you're still kind of struggling with whether you want to take the exam or not, you'll have the opportunity to make those decisions too. Additionally, on that drop-down menu, there will be a place where you can indicate whether you need financial assistance to take the exam. The district feels very strongly, as does the College Board, that every student needs to have the opportunity to take the AP exam and to obviously benefit from those scores. So if there is financial need, there will be a place where you can indicate that you need some help. Other than that, they have some due dates coming up. So by the end of October, you will need to pay for your AP exam, and you'll do that through Skyward, through the fees, just like you pay for your parking passes and school consumable fees and things like that. There's a place to pay for your exam. I believe you can pay in increments as well. So there'll be, I think, a $40 initial payment, and then you have to pay the other $53 or whatever it is later. If you are taking AP Macro or AP Lang, those courses, we shifted the schedule a little bit this year. Our students, I'm an AP Lang teacher, so our students are either enrolled in AP Lang Try 1 or AP Lang Try 2, and then all of our AP Lang students will take Try B during the third trimester, which will take them right up to the exam. Those exams can be committed to in February because some of those students are taking that Try 2. Same thing with AP Macro. So you will receive these dates. You'll want to keep these in mind. There is a $40 late fee if you do not add the exam before October 29th or February 5th if it's that Try 2. And then any final changes for your registration is set for February 26th. Just a little side note, some of you may be wondering, why do we have to register so early? After piloting and really looking at kind of the outcomes of students taking the exam, we really found that, the College Board studied this, and found that students that commit early are really more invested in preparing for the exam. And I want to go back to what everybody said about those AP boosts. They really can make or break success on an AP exam. It's so important that your students, that your children take advantage of those boosts, especially for those courses that are done in March. If you sail from March to, the day before the exam in May, and then try to scoop it up, it's typically not going to be a real successful ending for you. So definitely take advantage of the boosts. And just a final little thing, Elkhorn has a very high success rate. Our average for our exams, it's a 5-point scale, is a 2.96. I think Andrew mentioned that earlier. And beyond the exam and the credits, you are just getting that great preparation for life beyond high school. So, as you think about taking a end exam, Mr. Keel mentioned, I experienced the same thing when I started college. I hadn't had the opportunity to take classes like this or have this experience, and it was a big wake-up call. It was tough. So getting this experience ahead of time and getting that preparation it's gold. So. With that, that's all we have for you tonight. We thank you so much for coming and being here. Our AP staff, our AP teachers are going to be out in the cafeteria. So if you have specific questions about any of the classes that are offered, or when those classes run, or what they look like, what the exams look like, you can certainly ask those questions tonight. And then we are always available for questions if you wish to contact us. We just want to make sure that this program is something that is a opportunity and a benefit to your children, and something that they can grow from and feel a great sense of success. So thank you, and good night.